Hello, I'm Enzo, and how hard is it to beat Borderlands 3 as a scavenger? The rules of this run are I can only use gear from piles, lockers, fridges, and ammo chests, and no guardian rank. I chose Zane for this run since I felt like playing him, and before you spam how broken he is in the comments, I went with his green tree, which is terrible for damage, but great for survivability, which came in super handy. Even though I looked around the first map, I couldn't find any weapons. So melee only until I find one, it is. I figured out that melee only is possible when I streamed the legendary only run, but I was still worried about Shiv. Not having a shield makes this way harder than normal, especially using melee only. Until the fire barrel works in my favor for once. Did you see how his health just got melted? I think the fire barrel mistook Shiv for me. I will gladly take that kill though. The droughts is where the game really starts, and the first item I got was a grenade. Well, it's better than nothing, but I still need a gun, and I am not going to do the main missions until I have one. After killing more skags for XP, I found this area that had a fridge with guns in it. Originally, I wasn't planning to use gear from fridges or ammo boxes, but I think they fit in the scavenger loot pool, and this is the first gun I found from a scavenger source, so I'll take it. Not having a shield is still an issue, but Zane's shield and the one on this Hyperion SMG help make up for it. Going into this run, I was expecting it to be a normal Borderlands 3 run, getting tons of legendaries and speeding through the game, but it appears that the scavenger loot source's loot pool is different than normal chests or enemies' loot pool. The craziest part is that I didn't get a single legendary the whole run. That's right, I didn't get a legendary from the loot I can use in Borderlands 3. Another small spoiler is that the rarest item I got was a purple shield near the end of the run. Besides that, it's literally all white, a few rare green guns, and like one other blue mixed in. So, between the low quality and how rare it is to find new gear, combined with using Zane's shield as my main ability, you can probably tell how the combat went. The entire run can be summed up as slow and not difficult, but definitely not easy combat. I got my first shield a bit later, and looking back at this, I can't believe that the large crosshair glitch is still in the game. Like, how long has this been in here? They still haven't fixed it? Yeah, good job guys. And every so often I'll get a new, slightly upgraded gun, but I won't bore you with every single one, just the best and most important ones. Combat is still the exact same all the time. The only real thing of note in this map, I actually don't remember the name, doesn't really matter, was this new assault rifle. It doesn't deal more damage than a pistol, but it feels better to use. That's all that really matters in the end. By the way, do you hear that?
I had it coming.
Oh, it was playing the Borderlands 2 Bandit Slaughter theme. How original, guys. The mouthpiece fight, as always, is a piece of cake. The only issue was the audio just blasting out my ears because, you know, Borderlands audio is just weird like that. In all of the games, for some reason, there's always just that one part. Here's the first and only blue gun I got of the entire run. The hilarious part is that my game crashed right after I picked it up. Thankfully, for both the game and my sanity, the game saved that I picked it up. And for once, I didn't get baited by the shock damage on a Vladoff pistol. That's just the stupid taser. The gun only deals physical damage, sadly. But anyways, there are some lockers and stuff I can loot on Sanctuary, but you kinda know my luck and how all that went. And the highlight of the run, little sad considering this is the highlight, not combat or a boss or anything, but this customization, I was like, oh my god, is that what I think it is? I need it. And this is like the only time that the freaking vault rewards or whatever this is actually came in handy. Usually getting the Iridium is super annoying, but for once I actually wanted it. This is one of the few times you'll see me desperately trying to get a customization in a video game. I just have to have it. and now I desperately need to make a Metal Gear Rising Revengeance reference. The nice thing about Promethea is that this introduces us to Ratch piles, which are kind of just like any other creature piles and share the same loot pool, which is to say absolutely horrible. I don't think I got like anything out of them, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of gear, but yeah, extremely rarely. Also, there was no all-consuming void this time. Still, really wondering why that happened. The only thing of note for now is that I have Revenge of the Cartels enabled because, you can get more enemies to spawn and thus more XP, but this has never happened to me before. Yeah, I've gotten the mini-bosses early on, but never 2 at the exact same time. I managed to take 1 down, but I ran out of ammo and grenades, and yeah, kinda died. Sadly, they usually leave after you die. The XP would have been very nice, but yeah, I've never seen this happen before. And apparently the game is trying to make me regret my choice to use Revenge of the Cartels. But like, come on, man. 3 mini-bosses in, technically they're different maps, but same planet, same thing. Still, come on, game. I managed to defeat this one, but it's only because I had Lorelai's help. This is also an example of the weapons I rarely get in this run that actually carry me for quite a while. I love Jacob's guns in this game, because the bullet ricochet, that is like one of the best features they added. I especially love guns that ricochet and refund bullets, like the Rowan's and Lucian's Call. Those are some of my favorite, I just wish they were a bit more powerful. Combat was, and still is, extremely slow and boring. That's why I cut like 99% of the footage out and just didn't record it. But now I have an actual boss fight. Gigamind is a boss I always struggle with for some reason. He's just super annoying. The biggest issue I'm facing right now is his crit spot is on his back. The issue with that is he's always facing me, and most of my damage comes from critical hits. Needless to say, I was just scavenging to survive the entire fight, hoping to get some grenades to help me out a bit, and hitting his crit spot when I could. Not terribly difficult, just annoying. Kinda like this entire game, honestly. For some reason, this area in Athena's was the worst part of the entire run. And I mean, I know a few reasons why. I had the exact same Jacob's assault rifle I've had this entire time. As you can see, its damage has dropped off quite a bit. There are the Nogs that I absolutely hate because they regenerate normal units' shields, and it was just horrible overall. Maya didn't even revive me half the time. She was practically useless. Needless to say, I died many times here, at least 5 or 6. And that is one of the largest issues with a scavenger run like this. When you don't get new gear for a while and you're forced to use your old gear, it just takes forever to get through enemies. This was extremely painful. The first of 2 class mods that I got in this run. Both were, white, if you couldn't tell. Another interesting thing is the insane amount of gear that I get that is just under-leveled and underpowered. Well, okay, it's on level, but that shield is way less powerful than it should be. I've gotten quite a few of these that are like hundreds of capacity under my current level ones, which is super weird. But yeah, a lot of the white items are the exact same, and I've gotten a ton of duplicates in this run. Every so often when I level up, I get to access some new gear. I finally get to use my class mod, even though it does nothing pretty much, and this new Torgue pistol, which will come in super handy, considering all of my other guns are terrible. Honestly, I don't know how the fight would have gone if I didn't get this new pistol. Captain Trant isn't actually that horrible, and my gear is pretty decent right now, but I think the new pistol was the best addition to my arsenal, and it made this fight way easier than it otherwise would have been. As good as this pistol is though, I got another pistol, I can't exactly remember when, but it's a Mollywand pistol. What's neat about this is that it has 2 different elements, but most importantly, it has radiation. Radiation is really good against flesh, and just good overall. Pay very close attention to this gun, because it will carry me for a very long time. As you can see, even though the combat is still slow, this gun is heavily carrying me, especially thanks to the area of effect explosion on enemies' death due to radiation. It's not that great against shields, but thankfully almost all enemies in this map have a health bar. The best part though, the other element of this gun is corrosive, which also happens to be super effective against the other enemies in this map. making it literally like the perfect gun I could have gotten, besides, like an overpowered legendary or something like that. The final boss of this map, Katagawa Ball, is always a menace, no matter what. Not having a shock weapon definitely makes it worse, but overall the fight wasn't actually too bad. Just the same as all of the other combat, slow, grinding, not difficult, but not easy. But yeah, a shock weapon definitely would have made this fight way faster. Thankfully, I had Zane's shield and all of his green skills for amazing survivability. And as you can probably guess, the combat is still the exact same, even here at Atlas. It is nice having allies to revive me though. That is another one of my favorite features in this game. The best part of this place though, was finding a new pistol. It's also Molly one, it's also got radiation. That is awesome. It's going to be nice to upgrade this already powerful pistol. Katagawa Jr. is one of the fights I dread in this game, not because he's difficult, just the most annoying boss in this game, having to find him when he teleports around each time. I think it's about this point at the game where I was kind of starting to get fed up and just wanted to get through with the run. I was really hoping it was going to be easier and a bit more fun, but no, not really. And I played so much Borderlands 3 before when it came out that now I'm kind of just like, yeah, I'd rather play other Borderlands games instead. I don't like this one nearly as much as any of the others. So I'm gonna try and pick up the pace for the video a bit, considering it's all repetitive. It's the same thing I've been doing this whole time. Getting this shock SMG earlier was extremely convenient, both for the Katagawa Jr. fight and of course the upcoming Guardians. So it was a great find. The Rampager is a boss that I think is actually pretty well balanced, except for his last phase. He pretty much just health gates you with every single attack in that one. But either way, it's a decent fight. It's just going to take me a while due to my very underpowered and underleveled gear. The other thing I think about Borderlands 3 is that it kind of babies you too much. This fight should be a super difficult boss fight, but it's really not. Maya's always there to revive you, even if she doesn't do much damage. It's still kind of like a super easy lifeline. You wouldn't get that in any other Borderlands game, by the way. I just wish that the normal mode of this game would be a bit more difficult, or if there's like a, hard mode option, and it was just not this super easy baby game. There's not really too much else to say because, like I said, this is an easy fight, it just takes a while. That's kind of the issue with this game. All the enemies are just giant bullet sponges. Their attacks are super easy to dodge. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know how much I hate Eden 6. So let's just get through this place. That's the other thing I dread about having to play this game. This planet. The only decent thing I found here was, well, another upgrade to an already powerful pistol. It's awesome that I'm just getting better and better versions of it to keep up with my level. As for the Warden fight, even though my guns still aren't that great, I'd argue he's like the second easiest boss in the game next to Mouthpiece. I don't know why they made him such an easy fight. He should really be more difficult, but yeah, not much else to say here. I was just scavenging for grenades the whole time to deal some extra damage. That's it. I honestly don't know why Billy the Anointed is the only anointed enemy I really show off. I guess he feels more like a boss. But the most interesting part of the whole fight was seeing that Zane's shield blocks his clap area of effect attack. Like, that is so bizarre. Zane's shield blocks so many projectiles, it's actually kind of crazy how broken of a skill it actually is. The main reason I like to use it is for its broken interaction with the redistributor, with the legendary specifically. The legendary redistributor chains every single shot through Zane's shield, hence, the chain Zane build, which is my single favorite build in the entire game. Also, one loot source you can consider Scavenger if you really want to is the husks that Tyrene leaves, but I'm not really a fan. I consider those to be more enemy drop sources, considering the rarity of the gear I've gotten from them. It also appears that rocket launchers can drop from piles in this game too. I didn't use it that often, but it came in handy, saving my life a few times. Well, considering how good the Molly pistols I've gotten are, this Molly SMG has to be good. Slight spoiler alert, it definitely is. The Genevieve fight is pretty much like all the other bosses at this point. The main issue is just I don't have a great weapon against shields, even though her shield got melted, And for some reason, the balls that bounce around in here that honestly look more like, viruses at the microscopic level, those deal an unholy amount of damage for no reason at all. Otherwise, nothing of note. I just want to get on with this horrible planet. I did, however, find yet another SMG that happens to be Molly-1. I love getting upgrades for these nice guns. And a really good grenade that explodes on impact. I like that as well. One of the best finds though was this awesome Torgue shotgun. It doesn't seem crazy, but it has a super cool interaction with Zane's, I think it's the brain freeze skill, that has a chance to slow and freeze on critical hits, and it freezes enemies super fast. It's an awesome combination, especially with the explosive after they get frozen. Looking back at the footage, I find it funny that I found 2 good shields before this one, but this is the only purple that I found in the run, and the best shield that I'll use pretty much until the end of the game. I also found a Jacob's pistol that looked good at the beginning, but sadly it's one of those that reloads each bullet one at a time. So in total, it was actually pretty garbage, DPS wise. Conveniently though, I found a nice replacement for that garbage gun. Archimedes, as always, is just a pest. Quite literally a big and small pest, considering he can change sizes. I mean, when I actually look at it, all of the boss fights in this game and this run are the exact same. And, well, the exact same as the combat. They just take forever. They're giant bullet sponges. I mean, that gets way worse in Mayhem levels, but if it's bad right now, well, I guess it's only bad because my gear kind of sucks, but that explains the entire game right there. Bullet sponge enemies and bosses. Kind of just designed to take tons of time instead of, actual skill. I got this sniper out of a box, which is pretty awesome because that'll come in super handy considering all my other guns suck. Now that I'm level 27, I can finally get the keystone skill in this tree. This basically just gives me more gun damage and accuracy, which is pretty much what I need considering there aren't that many offensive skills in this tree. It's all about defense and health regeneration, but those are still super handy. And people probably won't complain about me going this tree instead of an overpowered one like blue or purple. And here's the Grave Ward fight at 16 times speed. Why, you ask? Because it literally took me like 10 minutes, because I do next to 0 damage to him for some reason. He posed absolutely no threat, as he never does, but giant bullet sponge tank that's absolutely super fun to have to fight. So yeah, 16 times speed, because it took 10 minutes. He also took so long that I literally paused in the middle of the fight to go make an auto clicker to shoot my guns for me, because I didn't want to hurt my fingers from clicking so much. But yet another freaking pistol upgrade. Awesome. This is especially great considering my guns are horrible and I'm getting very close to the end of the game. On top of that, another SMG upgrade. Well, this is definitely going at least decent, but still very slow. After leveling up, I've been putting my points into the blue tree for some extra damage, and I can finally use that pistol I just got. And let me say, this thing absolutely slaps. It is such a nice gun to get, and it's amazing with Zane's brain freeze skill. So yeah, the game is definitely going better now. And I use this grenade almost until the end of the game. It's just so much fun. I love tracker grenades in this game. Since we all saw how much this pistol freaking slaps, I think you can probably guess how the Agonizer 9000 went. Yeah, he kind of just got melted. It was a bit of a slow melt, sure, but he definitely died. It wasn't that difficult of a fight. There were a few close parts, but I beat him in the end. And here's the second class mod I got. Yeah, it's not much of an improvement, but I guess I'll take weapon magazine size. It's better than 4% Jacob's damage. Yeah, slightly better, I guess. A slight upgrade to my favorite grenade so far. If you've fought Troy before, you will know the pain. His fight is basically invincibility phase waiting simulator, and I mean, you can kind of see that in here. There's a reason I had to speed this up 8 times, because man, this fight took forever with my low damage, which is really surprising considering this pistol is super good, and if this is the damage I deal, well, I'm a bit concerned for the rest of the game. Either way though, this fight is super easy every single time. It's just, waiting for the invincibility phases that's the most annoying part. Actually, looking at it now, I don't think the gun is really the issue, might have just been Troy. But the damage definitely drops off as both the enemies and I level up, so I really hope I find a new gun soon. I thought Captain Trant was going to be super annoying, but he just has a tanky shield. Once you get down to his health bar, he's super easy to kill, especially with cryo. I'm glad that his shield phase doesn't resist shock, or else this would have been super annoying. And it's about time I got a new gun. Finally, I have some actual damage now. And let me tell you, this thing is amazing. And it works best against crowds of enemies, which came in handy later on. It's also finally time to retire my old shield. This thing has served me well for a long time, but it's finally being replaced. For some reason, near the end of the run this time, the combat just became hectic. I don't think it's ever been this difficult for me, and it feels like there are way more enemies here than usual. I haven't done anything to change anything, it just feels way crazier. Or maybe my damage is just that bad. This final level is actually one of my favorite because it has some of the best combat in the entire game. And it was definitely a massive challenge to get through all the enemies here. Now, finally, the last boss of the run, Tyreen the Destroyer. Yet again, not super difficult. Nothing I couldn't handle. Near the end of the fight, I was literally just waiting for her to finish all of her phases where she's out of the arena and undamageable. But this about wraps up the run. I mean, at the beginning it was fun and interesting, but it got really boring and slow over time, and reminded me that, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of playing Borderlands 3 anymore. Like I said, I played it way too much when it first came out, so I'm definitely mega burnt out. I'd much rather grind Borderlands 2, the pre-sequel, and even Borderlands 1 instead. It was certainly interesting to see just how horrible the actual scavenger loot pool drop rate is in this game, and that's something I did not expect at all. I really thought, like I said, I'd be getting legendaries and everything like that, but no, I guess not. That's every other loot pool, apparently. Overall, I don't recommend this challenge. Try it in another Borderlands game. The run in total took about 13 hours, and I didn't check how many containers I opened, but I'd imagine it's probably over 2,000, like it is in the other challenges. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I always appreciate it. And thank you to all of my supporters. This is going to be Enzo from LookIntoGaming, signing out.